I try not to go do anything unless it is worth $1,000 to $2,000 an hour in my mind. And that's how I make my decisions of where I spend my time. And I think every founder should be doing the same thing.
Adam Spector, founder and CEO of Levy. Levy is all about startup plumbing services. I'm kidding. Adam, please tell us, what does Levy do?
Yeah, no, Kristina, I appreciate it. I joke that we are startup plumbers. The reason we're startup plumbers is because we handle all of the kind of dirty work that is required to run your business, but all the stuff you as founders don't want to do. So that basically means HR, compliance, finance, and equity. It's the things that need to run on time, so your team gets paid, equity gets issued, invoices get paid, things like that. But founders should not be doing it. It's and I joke it's plumbing because it's the same as our plumbing. You and I do not think about our plumbing on a daily basis ever. But man, if it breaks and goes down, your house is going to start to smell, excuse my English, but like smell like shit, and everything's going to stop. And therefore, you need to go fix that immediately. And you better hope you have a good plumber who does a good job. It is the same thing with operations and startups. If it runs well, everybody's happy. And if it breaks, man, everything else stops.
But I guess you're more like a concierge or like a cleaning service, someone like a housekeeper, because you don't come when the shit goes down the drain. You come to prevent the shit going down the drain.
Correct, yes. I wish, and maybe we will get to a point where we actually can build the pipes in a sense, that they just keep working without constant maintenance. Unfortunately, today, they require constant maintenance. So you need to have that service in-house all the time to continuously do this work. And the problem that has existed in the world is that basically back office operations, which is what we do at Levy, has not changed in 400 plus years since the rise of the modern corporation in Britain. And basically what I mean by that is it's done today the exact same way, which is you either do it yourself as the founder, which obviously is a founder of the cool next XYZ company, AI, fintech, whatever. You shouldn't be doing that work. You should be doing what you are passionate about and are hopefully world class at. Or you hire people, you just hire lots of bodies to push paper around. I mean, in this case, it's digital paper instead of real paper a long time ago, but push paper around to go do this. That's it. That's kind of insane that it hasn't changed.
But the argument is that when you're starting out, you short on budget, right? And yeah, you shouldn't be doing anything but the core, but you also should be agile and spend your money wisely. What do you think about that? That's why I think founders have to do everything themselves until they raise or hit the product market fit. So that's when you outsource and cover things with money.
So up to a point, that's true, but not for very, very long. So I would say, look, if you have raised under $500,000, you don't need this stuff. You need a little bit something to get yourself going in like a real product. So focus on that for sure. But beyond that point, it's sort of the same thing. I'll push it back to you as the lawyer in the room. Would you advise founders to continue to be their own lawyer for very long at all? Maybe even from day one? I assume your answer is no, you shouldn't be your own lawyer. So why should you be your own back office ops person? You can make just as many mistakes, if not more, as you can trying to be your own lawyer. So why would you do it?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I see especially solo founders, for them, it's hard. They spend so much time dealing with the bank. Account got closed because it didn't go to the right address. And then I just had a situation with a founder where we were thinking about not shutting down the company, but actually shutting down operations because $400K got stuck at Chase, and Chase was not releasing money for some stupid reason, and they were telling me that the founder should be listed on the Delaware Secretary of State website. I'm like, that's just physically not possible. That's not how it works. And that fight was taking like 6 months.
Yep.
It is crazy that the company could go down because of this stupid thing. Thank God we just resolved it by doing something stupid but smart. We registered the company in California and listed the founder as a registered agent, which is just not true, but they wanted to see the name of the founder on the website. Like, who does that? And I was trying to come up with those creative solutions. If she had the back office, she could have prevented those things.
Yes, hopefully we would have been able to prevent it, number one. Number two, we also would have been troubleshooting it so the founder could get back to doing what they were doing best, instead of being distracted probably daily on the situation, hand it off to someone you trust. And then the final part is you should get a different bank, because Chase is not a particularly founder-friendly bank. So we would also make recommendations on the ones who are really founder-friendly, who you can actually talk to a person who's going to take care of your business. Because the beauty is, as a founder, you have no way of knowing, how do I compare Chase to Mercury, to Brex, to Citizens, to Meow? There's so many different banks. And the same thing goes for Gusto versus Rippling, or Carta versus Pulley. How do you know? In what you as a founder, you're really going to get on a sales phone call with the salespeople from each one of those companies. They're all going to tell you they're freaking wonderful and how great they are. And you're like, I have no idea. I've never done payroll in my life. How would I have any idea if these are good? So now you've just wasted hours of your life. You've heard the same pitch from everyone, and you have no idea what to choose. Why would you do that? So the question, going back to your sort of point about where to spend your money, like be bootstrapped, be really scrappy. The pet peeve of mine, and something that I try really, really hard to think about as I've sort of matured in my career, is where and how do I spend my time? Because the most precious thing in a startup is not actually the money you have. It is your time. And the only decision you can make, the only decision you have as a founder, is where to spend that time. That is it. So I'm making a proactive choice to go spend my time right now with you. I think that is a valuable thing, hopefully, for the startup ecosystem, and frankly, for my company. So that is a good use of my time, which in my mind, I try not to go do anything unless it is worth $1,000 to $2,000 an hour in my mind. And that's how I make my decisions of where I spend my time. And I think every founder should be doing the same thing. Frankly, every person should do the same thing, but solely for founders.
Wow, that is a really great way of thinking about that. I agree with you. And then the next question back to you: when do you think would be that threshold? It's $500K. If you raised, you should be outsourcing these things, backup office operations.
Absolutely. When you've gotten to $500K, you have something that's working a bit, right? You've been able to convince at least some investors that there's something there. That's when you start saying, okay, look, for a low price, I can get something that's going to, so, we're talking between right now at our current pricing, 30 to 40K a year. That's not nothing, but we're going to save you 5 to 10 hours a week. So 20 to 40 hours a month. So close to 500 hours a year. That's an extra 3 months of work that you get. So in the next 12 months with us, you will end up with basically working a 15-month year. Those 3 months could be the make or break difference between whether your startup fails or succeeds, because you got that big customer, you got that next product launch out. That is world changing. 30K, 40K is not going to make one darn difference to the success of your business by comparison.
How did you come to that? Was it through your personal experience?
Yes, very much so. So we actually mentioned this right at the beginning. I have the luck or insanity of being a 4-time founder. I'm not really sure which. It probably means I'm slightly insane, but I'm a 4-time founder. And I've also had the privilege of investing in about 150 different startups. And the key thing that I saw across all of them, the ones I ran, the ones I'm invested in, was basically that there's this massive time suck called back office operations. It is not why you start your company. It is not why you are passionate about what you do. It's not what you care about, but you have to spend time on it. You have to do this stuff. And there was no solution out there. The solution was literally hire more people, which, by the way, is going to cost you way more than 30 to 40K a year. And you have to hire, train, manage, recruit, hire, train, manage that person, which is even more overhead. So yeah, the idea was hey, how can I start this and solve this problem? So every entrepreneur, not just tech startups, every entrepreneur in the world has a greater chance at a higher level of success that enables their dreams to become a reality.
And how did you get in your personal experience that there was that point that, oh my God, what am I doing? Or it is not the right direction. My time is worth more. Was it a pivotal moment, or it just accumulated over time?
The time is more one is just as I've, I guess, gotten a little bit older and more experienced. I mean, I've been out in Silicon Valley now for 14 years, which is crazy to think about. I more and more come to the realization that I should only do things that I think derive a lot of pleasure to me, that I enjoy. That's number one in life. Just do things you have fun doing. B, I should do things that I'm really good at. And the things that I'm not good at, I should hand off to people who are better than me. That's just a smart way of doing work. which leads to, of course, the idea of delegation and being good at delegation. And frankly, most founders are pretty bad at delegation. In fact, they're really good at like, I want to control everything and do it all.
This is my baby.
Yes. Well, we should talk about that then, because like it is a pet peeve of mine where people don't hand things off and they're not good at it. And so getting that realization then helped, of course, lead to the idea of Levy, where it's like, look, you should be delegating and outsourcing all of these back office tasks. Once again, it is not core to you. It's not critical. It is not your underlying skill set. If it's your skill set, go start a company doing back office work. Like, come compete with me, please. Great. But if it's not, hand it off. Like, I talked to a founder today. He's raised $15 million. And he's like, well, I still do most of this work myself. I kind of feel like I should like be on top of it. I'm like, why? Like, literally, you need.
Do you like it?
Yeah. Do you like doing it? Are you good at it? Is it critical to you raising your next round? They have $50 million. They probably don't need to raise for a while, but like, is it critical to your next fundraising round? Is it critical to getting your product out the door? Is it critical to getting customers? If the answer is no to all that, you just need to hand it to someone you can trust, make sure it's done right and proactively, and that's it.
Amazing. I agree with that. I think Naval was saying that he used to measure, like my hour, he said it like for 500, and then he kind of go on and on.
He's at 2,000 an hour right now. That's what he said. He views his time as being worth at 2,000 an hour.
I don't think, like, it's so cheap. I can't believe that Naval's 1 hour is 2,000.
That's, I think, I read a quote about that from him that he said that.
Really?
Yep. I mean, that's pretty high, right? If you think about, like, he doesn't charge hourly for his time, but he just won't get out of bed to do something unless he thinks it's worth at least $2,000.
But it's like a big law firm partner rate, and honestly, I'd rather spend 1 hour with Naval than with a big law firm partner.
Hell yeah! No, I'm guessing most people pay $5,000 or $10,000 to spend an hour with Naval, but that's how he metrics out his day. But the point is, like, most founders, they're selling themselves cheap. They're probably saying, I'm worth $50 an hour, and they're doing all this work day in and day out. That's like at $50 an hour. If they actually took their time and said, where am I spending all my time? I bet they're doing so much work that they are doing for essentially a really, really cheap, low cost. When they said, like, one time if you rank out, well, if I could spend an hour doing sales or an hour doing product, right? I can do those two. Those are worth $2,000 an hour because those are critical to my startup being successful. Or if I can do back office operations, and I also spend an hour doing that, what price would you put on that? And founders just don't run those numbers in their head. It's crazy to me. Like, I'm a huge believer in just outsource all these things as much as possible and save time. It saddens me by how many startups fail because the founders are terrible at delegation, the founders are terrible at time management, and the founders don't properly value their skill set and their time.
That's a very interesting conversation, and I started the law firm, and I do delegate. But what I realized that in the beginning I would be hiring just generalists, but now I hire experts, and certain things like booking the flights. I had an assistant, but I was like, she asks me back what to book, and I'm like, okay, this is not working. So I started hiring differently. Okay, I need an expert to take this off my plate and just run with that. Yep. If you have to come back to me, I can book my own flight. I can book my own hotel. I still have like my own preferences. Like later, maybe like when I like get to the level of chief of staff, that would be the next level. But for now, I'm doing like all of those things myself. But I would need to hire a first employee, and I'm terrified about like doing things. And I think I'll outsource that. I don't want to do everything myself, so maybe it will be Levy.
But for the back office, you definitely should use us, of course. But like literally outsource all those pieces. Be very careful about hiring people, right? In the end, hiring means management overhead, means time.
It's personal development. Honestly, it's like mentorship that you give. That's the included piece, and it's like many hours.
It's many, many hours. And look, we have plenty of people on our team, but you still should think deeply, what are key skill sets that I need to have and that I know well enough that I can train? This is my other pet peeve, at least with Levy. People hire someone internally to run their operations. Every company, once again, same way it's been done for 400 plus years. A founder is trying to hire for a role that they don't know how to do themselves. They're now going to hire the right person and train that person and manage that person for a job they don't know how to do. Give me a break. Like, come on, that is literally a recipe for failure.
Yeah.
Like, if 50% of employees don't work out anyways, even for jobs you know how to do. Now you're going to hire someone for a role you don't want to do and you don't know how to do, and you expect them to be successful? No way.
Okay, but here's the other. I'm going to play the devil's advocate. For example, one of my friends, Nikhil Viswanathan, CEO and founder of Alchemy, the first person that they hired, Angelina, and the first person kind of like does it all, but now she's the culture queen. Because she grew up together with them building this company. Yes, you manage whatever you have to manage, but then you mature, you invested in a person. 8 years later, now it's like one of the best companies for culture. So what about that? If we outsource everything, we're going to be alone in the room with nothing to do, just the core business?
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, right? We're heading to a world where there's going to be $1 billion company of one full-time employee. And then you don't need to have culture because your culture is yourself. And then it's about getting things done. And you still have a team of contractors who are working great for you, and you can get energized. You can still build culture with them, number one. And then also, I think culture, arguably, like it worked out well in this case with Alchemy, culture generally comes from the founders, like founder. Like they're the ones who control the culture. By the people they hire, by the actions they take, by how they treat people. That is how culture is created. So maybe it gets lucky every once in a while. You can kind of have teammates who do it. But I generally would just say, once again, if money is if you're trying to be careful about where you spend money on the people who are going to drive the most critical things forward, which is because culture comes from founder, therefore hire great engineers, arguably, frankly, just a great engineering leader and a great product leader and a great head of marketing. Those 3 hires, plus you as the founders, everything else cannot be outsourced. Outsource everything else, and you have a fantastic company.
Wow. Okay, that is a great advice. So engineer, product, marketing, and you as the founder with the vision.
Yeah, like a senior person who can run that, who knows all the ins and outs, who can you can trust and say, go do these things, I trust you, and let's have a good sync every once in a while. Then everything else, hire great people to do all the specific little things that you're not great at, but you might only need it for a certain period of time, right? Ramp it up, ramp it down, ramp it up, ramp it down. When you find that you need someone like full time, sure, maybe then it's the right time to hire. But even then, test those people out as a contractor for a while and see how far that gets you and see, hey, they're great at what they do, and slowly ramp that up. So I think that's the way the world's heading. And arguably it's a better opportunity for, frankly, most people too, right? I think I kind of tend to believe the W-2 full-time employee culture is a remnant of the 20th century, and one that is only still in existence because people are scared to be a 1099 contractor, and they are scared to not have health insurance from a company. Beyond that, there's a lot of argument to be had that being a contractor is a better way to go. Now, to be clear, once again, we have lots of full-time employees at Levy, W-2s, so we have not made this full transition in full transparency, but I do think that is the direction that every company is going to head over time.
But you help other companies to make that transition.
At least not to make that full transition to be fully outsourced, but the idea
at least of the back office.
Outsource the back office, like that is just not your core competency.
Yeah.
Why would you try to do it yourself? And once again, if you hire someone internally to your business to go do back office work, they're in a silo by themselves, right? This person is not part of your core product. They're not part of the marketing team. They're not part of the product team or the sales team. So what are they doing? They're sitting off in a corner by themselves trying to make sure payroll runs. That's not very fun. It's very siloed. They don't have all the data because things change so fast in back office regulations and rules. We look across all of our customers every day and we talk together as a team. What's happening? What's changing? What's interesting? What's happening here? What advice can we give to our customers? That's more than any individual sole operator in your company could ever have.
What are the examples of kind of one-person billion-dollar companies that you think you would see or you already seen?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Kardashians are a fantastic example of that. They have, I don't know, I think there's Skims. There's a few other different products that the various people in the Kardashian family have. They have 5 employees. Everything else outsourced. Manufacturing is outsourced. Marketing is basically free because it's the Kardashians doing their own marketing on TikTok or in Instagram, whatever, right? Those are billion-dollar companies with a few employees, and everything else is just I'm going to outsource it to the best companies that can provide the best product. Get me that best product, and if you don't deliver, we'll find another contract manufacturer to make the best product in this area. It's a win for probably everybody, and it allows the marketplace to push things through and the outcome is hopefully a fantastic win for everyone involved, including the contractors.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, this is a great example, and especially with AI, I think we would have like AI employees and contractors and consultants. How at Levy are you using AI?
We are maybe old school, 2 years of AI being in the world, but old school in the sense that I think AI right now is a great tool, but it's not all that different from a lot of the other technology that's come before. And what I mean by that is it's very easy to get distracted by AI this, AI that, but forget that you just need to build a delightful product. So my customers don't care if we're using AI in any way. They just want they want their problem solved and no one else to worry about it. That's what they care about. That's it. Problem solved. If it's AI doing the background, if it's a bunch of people, they don't care. And so therefore, what that means for us is we're going to use people right now for us to solve a lot of these problems. And over time, we will keep finding tech to make us more efficient and better. Some of that tech will probably be AI. Some of it will be other tools. And we want to make sure we make the smart choice of what we automate and what tech we use without creating more problems for ourselves, because there's just too many startups who say, oh my God, we're going to automate all these things and have no idea if that's actually a product worth automating in the first place. And they spend thousands or millions of dollars to automate something, and then no one wants to buy it because it's actually a bad product.
Yeah, I have the same hypothesis on legal tech. At the end of last year, I was thinking about starting a legal tech company. Justin Kahn, my friend, he convinced me not to do it.
He has some deep experience in that.
He has. But all of the insights that he got me, like, because I know legal tech, I realized that the value that you provide to the customers, they don't care who does that. And it's my job to automate whatever I want to automate, so I don't run 100-person law firm. And the way I do it, I first sell the product that is done manually. When it's sold well enough, right now I'm automating startup launch package because my associate is getting killed with that. So now I brought in incredible PM who's built legal tech product, did not have a good exit, and now has a bunch of experience. I'm like, this is the perfect person for me to automate whatever I need to automate, because clients don't care what you use. I totally agree with you. But I think it's important on the back end, like, to always think like, how are you growing? Are you growing by increasing the number of people and you kind of create problems for yourself? I think that's similar to what happened with Atrium, right? You think that software going to do things, but it doesn't. So you kind of like pour from one thing and it like leaks from the other side. And there's no real business. But I think with you, it's absolutely different story because, and I also want to talk about that, you're not venture backed. So you're not trying to grow and scale as fast as you can, spend as much as you can. If math doesn't math, you wouldn't be sitting here, right?
Correct. Yeah, no, look, we're fully bootstrapped, and it's weird for me because I've done 3 venture-backed companies before this, and the weird part is we don't have the same pressure to go as fast. But I'm a founder in Silicon Valley. I still have that drive to move really fast, and what I try to temper myself with and slow down is say, you know what, let's be just really thoughtful. We wanted to launch one new product feature after product feature, do it the right way, make sure it's delightful for our team to use first, like dog food our own product, and then launch it to customers and make sure they love it, and then just go one step after the next. And arguably, that is how companies are the most successful, even the biggest ones out there. It's every single day you put your foot in front of the other, you launch a little something new, and it's just slightly better, right? We're talking day after day after. It's small steps.
Iterations,
small iterations every single day. But that leads to a much larger, more successful whole. And it's not as sexy. It's not fun. It's not like we're going to overnight be a blow-up massive success. But I think we have a really good shot at being a 10-year overnight success. But we took our time, and we don't have the pressure, thankfully, to do everything we can to either make it massive or not.
Or die.
We can take our time. We have to be profitable because we don't have a lot of VC daddy dollars sitting in my bank account. We have money that we've made because of our hard work that's sitting there, and that covers our salaries every single month. And that pushes us to make sure we are always delivering delight and success, but also have some money out over the side to say, hey, look, how do we keep improving our product? And it's small iterations every single day, staying on the field, playing the game, and then great opportunities will show up.
Oh, I love it. Two things that I wanted to say. First, I'm really happy to talk to you about that, because being in Silicon Valley and not being venture backed, you feel like there's something wrong with you, like you have a disease or something, you're not thinking properly. But that decision not to be venture backed, it was like a 9-month decision that I was like fighting and like going like that. And one person who kind of settled for me was Naval. Actually, we had dinner, and for like an hour, he gave me the whole business analysis of my strategy, and that intuition that I had, that I don't want to raise money because I don't want to die or leave fast. I want to provide value, and then once I feel that okay, this has this big market, then I'll take somebody's money to like 10x it. And he confirmed it, and he's like, just automate one thing after another, hire engineers, and that's it. And as you grow with your clients, the needs change. You might identify a product, or while you're growing, you might build like back office, something that you would be able to sell to other law firms. So you will naturally evolve. And I also, the other thing that I like what you said, opportunities come. I know you are a venture investor, you angel invest, and I think you just invest in startups because as a back office person, you see everything similar to me. I know what is bullshit, what is not.
Yep.
Because I'm like a doctor for a founder. I know how they treat investors, what investors they have. I know the dynamic between founders. That deal flow just come to you. Yep. And I think you take advantage of that.
For my investing, for sure, that is a great source of deals, but also hearing people, their honest take on their business. They're not trying to pitch me. They're talking about their challenges.
Problems, yeah. Like, can you fix that?
Why they need us, exactly. And you get a real idea, though, too, if they're the type of founders you want to back, because some founders are really good at handing things off and saying, yeah, like, please, immediately. And other founders can't give up anything, and that's a real risk for those companies. But yeah, I mean, like the going back to the bootstrap part, the funny thing for us is about 2.5 years ago, we were trying to raise sort of a, not quite Series A, like almost like a Series B, Series A-ish for my last company. And we had a services component, which actually sort of iterations later became Levy, right? So we were kind of, not legally, but we're a spin-off of my last company. And we were unable to raise because people were like, well, you're not tech enough, you're a services business. The funny thing that I've seen today, and I actually have a bunch of VCs reach out on a regular basis now, is services business, sort of tech-enabled services businesses have become really sexy. I think it's a change of like AI sort of enables a lot of things and is going to kill a lot of industries, but there's certain work that's not going to disappear. Maybe 15 years from now, sure. But like today, you're going to need lawyers to deal with stuff in between. You're going to need operators to deal with all the little in-betweens. That's not going away, but you can massively enable those services businesses with technology and still get great margins if you do it the right way. But you take your time. I invest in a lot of companies, but also being not needing to be VC backed and taking things slow until you feel really confident that you figured out product market fit is a fantastic way to go. If you can be disciplined and if you can get over the ego hit of being like, oh, I raised like $10 million from the best VC. And like, there's an ego element to that for sure. And granted, I went through that myself, so I get it for people. I just don't have that drive anymore. I care much more about, my North Star is much more about, I want to build something that is everlasting, that makes an incredible, real difference. And if I do all that, all the accolades, all the money, all these other things will come from that. But it takes time. And I need to be patient and just wake up every day energized and excited to do what I want to do. Everything else will follow from that.
What is the legacy that you want to leave after yourself?
The legacy is a few different things, I suppose. I think one, I want the legacy to be, did I make an impact on somebody's life? I'm would love it if I can make an impact on lots of people's lives, but at the same time, if it's just a few people, that's okay too. And I feel like I've actually managed to do that for some of the people I've had a real pleasure of working with for a long time. That's one.
What kind of impact?
In them thinking about how they want to go about their careers and what do they want to work on and how do they want to build their own lives and think through what that means. So that's a big part of the impact. I think the other big ones are, another big impact is, hey, going back to Levy's vision and mission, can I enable every entrepreneur, irrespective of race, religion, creed, socioeconomic status, where in the world they live, to have a better shot at building a great business, that is a huge win. But that's because I think entrepreneurs are the way that society thrives. The more small businesses, that some of them will become massive businesses. But just my own, the more delicious, I love bakeries. So the more great bakeries that can thrive in San Francisco, the happier I am. And if I can help those small bakeries handle their back office, because guess what? The baker loves to bake. The baker does not have an interest in dealing with San Francisco regulations and politics and paying their team. That's not why they got into baking. So if I can help all those companies, every single entrepreneur, irrespective of whether they look like you or me and can talk to Naval and get funding, who cares? Just be successful.
Hold on a second. I'm actually surprised. So you're not just tackling venture-backed startups.
We are today. That's our longer-term vision is I want to help every entrepreneur in the world.
Oh,
that
okay. Because I'm like, wow, the vision is big. And like...
The vision is big, yes.
Okay. Okay, now I see. That's your vision and mission. You want entrepreneurs.
Every entrepreneur
create
globally.
And globally. Okay, I can definitely see your venture scale, but as you said, not now. It will organically, naturally flow into that.
Yeah, and look, maybe there will be time where we do raise money because we say, hey, look, we figured this out, but we need to know the reason we serve startups today is a few reasons. One, I know that market pretty well, so I can sell to it as a founder, sales-led founder. I can do that well. But also two, founders tend to, even though they don't really understand their time, as we talked about, they do have more money than they have time in many cases. And so they need to move quickly. And so they can afford to pay for what is today. Once again, I think we are a deal and a half, right? You charge probably like $2,000 an hour to speak with you and get your legal advice.
$550, guys.
That's a deal, guy. Everyone should sign up. That is a deal.
Yeah.
But even that is expensive, right? Like we're a fraction of that. And for us, but we're still expensive, right? Most founders still say, hey, this is kind of expensive. Our goal, though, we need to figure out how can we dramatically over time make our product so much more delightful, so much more scalable, which then leads us to be able to cut our prices dramatically, have some margin there, but it doesn't need to be massive. Like I want to be like in Amazon or Walmart, but for back office services. So how do we dramatically create a product that is so scalable that it can actually serve every entrepreneur in the world for a price that they can actually afford? That is our goal, and that is really tough, and it takes time, energy, and effort. We're starting with the market we know well, and that can afford what we can do today. But over the next 12 months, I want to cut our prices by 50%. And do that again, over and over and over again, until we are like the Walmart and Costco and Amazon of back office services.
Wow, I love it. And I think we're very, very much on the same trajectory and direction. It means that it is meant to be that we're here talking. That is awesome. I had this aha moment recently when I was taking my bag with clothes to the dry cleaning, and I was like Googling where is it, walking, and then my friend founder on the intersection, he's like, why are you doing that? There's this app, they come pick up. He registered me right on that spot, and I got the email that was saying, like very short one, like we don't want to waste your time. This is our mission. That's why even this email is short. And to be honest with you, something in me just like that click that, oh my God, I really want that for my clients. I know that there are bespoke things, especially with venture, hand-holding, but I really crave that service that I could provide for founders. There is that ease that, yeah, I want to deeply impact people, but sometimes you don't need to like impact them directly. You just give them time to spend on their own without dealing with bullshit. Yep. And that was my time because it was my weekend. I was like, instead of like with carrying that bag and like going somewhere, I would just listen to the music, walk my dog, journal. That's the real transformation that I would get just off getting that off my plate.
Yep.
Thank you for doing that. I'll definitely consider being a customer. I'm definitely like a new founder, but I do need that help. I do need to hire. Now I'm thinking about, because I'm a solo founder, I was thinking about hiring a CPA to help me even like calculate like my books. Because sometimes I'm like, can I afford this? Can I not afford that? How do
Well,
I?
and this is the example though, right? CPAs, so bookkeepers and accountants are a great example. Frankly, lawyers are great examples. Those are the original outsourced companies, right? Founders today founders. It's funny. It's sort of funny because I talk obviously lots of founders about what we do, and I say, hey, look, like, I'm like, are you gonna do your own legal work for yourself? And founders are like, no, of course not. Like, I'm gonna outsource it to my lawyers at $550 to like $1,500 an hour, and I'm like, okay, are you gonna do your own bookkeeping accounting? No, I'm going to outsource it to bookkeepers and accountants. I'm like, okay. So why would you do your own back office operations? Why would you manage payroll yourself? I'm like, I don't know. It's just what I thought I should do.
There is a reason for that, because the price of a mistake. If you mismanaged legal, like thousands, hundreds, millions, all the end of your business. IRS, you don't want to mess with them. So I think here with the back office, and I'm giving you like my perception, like, yeah, I might drop a few things here, but not deadly. Do you have any deadly examples when it was mismanaged?
There's some. I mean, like, you can make the wrong. We've literally seen where our client has paid. So we do payable AP accounts payables, basically invoice payments to customer. Our customers tell us to pay invoices. They asked us to send out invoices, and it turned out it was complete fraud. And we've either caught it or stopped it from happening or managed to get the money back after they told us to go do it. Those are one situation. We've had plenty of situations where they come to us and said, our payroll isn't running. Or there's like all these errors that you can make. I mean, if your team doesn't get paid, that's a real problem.
Yeah.
Or if you end up getting a massive audit from the state or the federal government because you messed a bunch of things up and just ignored it. No. Yes, they're not as well known as, I don't want to mess up my legal work. But you can ignore your books for a long time. Like, you have to pay your taxes, but you can ignore getting your books done every single month. I mean, and frankly, for early stage startups, you just need to know how much money do I have in the bank, how much money is going out the door. There's your runway number. It's pretty easy to figure out. So you don't really need those things, but people it's natural to do it. But the analogy that I'd make, going back to your example of dry cleaning, once again, they don't think about this being an option.
Yeah.
And this is the way for
I
everything.
didn't. I felt like I'm from 19th century. That founder kind of like, oh, like, you look like you're from 19th century. And I was standing there, I'm like, he's kind of right.
Yeah. No, but this is everybody, right? Once again, people are doing back office work the same way it was done 400 years ago. But same thing in my life. Once again, I'm all about like outsourcing and how do I save time so I can do the things that I enjoy more, that I'm better at. How do I do that? Well, like literally in daily life, well, guess what? I don't clean my house anymore. I still do some of it, but not very often. I have some cleaning people who come to my house.
It took me a year to find cleaning team in San Francisco.
It's hard to find, but they do exist, right? So you can find them. But I also, guess what? Used to do my own laundry. And I was like, wait, what? There's a wash and fold place 2 blocks from my house. So I take a big bag of laundry every like 3 weeks or so. And that's how often I have enough clothes that I wait every 3 weeks. But like, I take it there. 24 hours later, everything's washed, everything's folded. Bring it home. I put it back in my drawers. That's it.
Whoa, I don't do that.
Right. So why are you doing your own laundry? Why are you cleaning stuff? Food. People, of course, are now really used to ordering on DoorDash or Instacart or whatever.
That's not healthy. It's not sustainable.
So, true. But like, there's lots of like private chef services. There's other things you can do to do all these sorts of things. Like, you can order really healthy food too that is also like not quite full like private chef level. There are lots of options that you can do. You can start saying, you know what, like, there are things that I'm not either good at or not. No, some people love to cook, so more power to you. You should do your cooking and enjoy it because that's a great way to like clear your mind. Some people love doing laundry. But like, if there are things that you don't love doing and you can spend your time elsewhere in higher leverage activities, why wouldn't you? And that's the same thing for what we do at Levy, what you do as a lawyer, bookkeepers and accountants.
Yeah.
Do what's high leverage, what you enjoy. Outsource everything else. Why wouldn't you?
I think as a founder, you're just scared that you're going to run out of money if you like outsource like that because you pay a premium for people to handle it. But one example that I realized, for example, social media, I had a social media manager for almost a year. And I realized for running things, it's good. But if I want to make a breakthrough on social media, it's not going to work. So yeah, now my time is more expensive than social media manager. Now I manage my own social media. I have the advisor because I know for me, content is the leverage. That's number one distribution channel for the legal in addition to networking. So I'm like, okay, this is time, like spending time there is right. But yeah, laundry, I agree with you.
But it's also like play that out, right? So what I mean by like playing that out is think through what does that mean for you as when you're outsourcing things. Like, so if I hire you as my lawyer, I'm like, okay, Kristina, help me with this legal task. You don't do a good job, or I don't enjoy working with you, or whatever. Guess what? As a contractor, I can fire you tomorrow and just say, okay, send me your bill for the time worked. That's it. Bye.
Yeah.
Done. If I hire you as an employee, as my general counsel, now I onboard you, go through all this process, train you. It's going to take 2 or 3 months. And then I'll be like, oh my God, Kristina's really not getting it done. Like, what am I going to do here? I have to fire you, pay all these taxes and fees for it, probably pay you severance, all that other stuff. Like, sure, was your hourly rate lower because you were working for me full time? Probably yes, compared to me paying you as just an outsourced lawyer.
Yeah.
But what about all the obligations that come with it? Instead, I can say, I want to hire the best lawyers I possibly want to hire the best IP lawyer, generalist lawyer, HR lawyer, you name it, for each specific task. And sure, I'm paying more on an hourly basis than I would if they're in-house, but I have complete flexibility to turn that on and off if my expenses get too high, if I don't need them anymore.
That's true.
That flexibility and that freedom is, we talk in America all the time about like freedom this, freedom that. Yeah, I want a ton of freedom. I love freedom. That means freedom from hassles and headaches, freedom to make the decisions I want to make.
Yeah, and you're right. You just focus on high leverage things that bring money in the door so you can pay for outsourcing things that don't serve as the revenue generation or the source of pleasure.
Yeah. Laundry, I could spend time doing my laundry, or I could spend time with my kids.
Yes.
Or I could spend time doing work. Which one's going to drive greater leverage and value to me and my family? Kind of an obvious thing on that point. But people don't think about it that way. And it saddens me, frankly, because you have one life to live and life is pretty short.
Life is pretty short. The more and more I realize and the more I optimize for making big impact, having personal time, and do what you enjoy, what feels right, following your vision. Let's switch a little bit to the personal thing. So I kind of got the story of the hero's journey, and what about your vulnerability?
I guess my vulnerability is, I probably have a little bit of an imposter syndrome to some extent. Look, I've been in Silicon Valley for 14 years. I think people, if they looked at my LinkedIn profile, like sort of resume, whatever, they'd say, oh my God, you've done so many things, you know so many people, all this other stuff. And I'm like, man, I don't feel like I've done anything at all. I have so much still to do and so much still to prove. At the same time, I also don't, the good thing is I also don't care the same way I used to. So like I'm connected by 1 or 2 degrees to probably most of the really famous, well-known people in Silicon Valley. I also don't care anymore, if that makes sense. I have a lot of friends who still really care about socializing with the right people. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to have fun and enjoy myself and do what I enjoy. And that means more to me now.
But that's not vulnerability. That's strength.
That's the strength. But the vulnerability part is I still feel like I have a lot to prove and I still want to go prove those things. And I also, the other vulnerability is I'm like, I don't know, am I smart enough to do this well? Am I smart enough to lead a company that has, like, there's a lot of people who rely on me making smart decisions for the business, and they rely for their families and the money they're making on me making smart decisions and not overextending the company so we don't go out of business and run out of cash and all those things. And so that is not a vulnerability, but that's certainly a fear that I have. Am I smart enough to do this well? And yes, people have told me I'm smart, but there's so many people out here who are brilliant, and I don't think of myself that way at all.
I honestly think that you would outcare. It's not about the smartness. When I worked at Big Law, to be honest with you, I cared less because like there are other people, like this template, for example, it's coolie. Like they figured it out. I can rely. But now I'm like, okay, template. And I find mistakes in Big Law firm templates because I care.
Yep.
This is my client. This is my law firm. And I think it's about caring, honestly. Then you become more present. And it's all about figuring out. It's like what we do is not really rocket science. It's just figuring shit out. That's what it is.
And it is, but a lot of people don't want to take the time or energy to do that. And
but you do.
I try. I've lots I can improve on still, but I try.
Okay, that's the vulnerability. What else? You wanted to talk about working remotely or... it goes back to the remote part. It's really about the thesis of
outsourcing everything, which is, look, I think the world is moving into a place where remote work is the future. I think the ability to hire great people anywhere in the world is a strength of any company that is willing to take that plunge. So at Levy, we have people all over the world, and I think that's a huge strength of ours. It enables us. We don't care where you are, what your base, what you can. We just care what can you do and get done. That to me is a huge strength. We also save on not having an office. It means people can live with their families, close to their families, wherever they want to be. Those seem like, to me, really strong wins. So I'm always shocked when companies have like hybrid. I kind of think hybrid's like bullshit. It's like we're going to make a compromise decision, which good compromises make no one happy, which is fine. Like that's good in negotiations. Like that's a good compromise in a negotiation. But for your company culture and team, a compromise is like I don't know, I bet if you polled most workers and said, okay, we want you to come in 3 days a week because we think it's good for our culture, or we'll get rid of the office and pay everybody $10,000 more a year. Yeah, I mean, just look at your face. You'd be like, yeah, I'll take the money. I guarantee every single employee would say the same thing. And so why don't you just pay everyone $10,000 more and not have an office, and then either keep your people really happy or hire even better people because of that. Which one's going to do better? And then if you hire better people, your stock price is going to go up, and that's going to make more and more people happy. So which one compounds more? So, and then once again, I want to hire the best people globally. Be an adult, get it done. We hire you because you're an adult and can do work well.
Yeah, no, that's true. You judge the output. And
matters.
what you do, it doesn't matter.
What you do and when you do it, actually, as long as you're getting it done. In our case, your clients are happy, but like, you're getting it done on a timely fashion. If you like to work midnight to 6 a.m., great. I don't care. Just get it done on time and deliver what you promised.
Yeah, no, that's true. There is a concern about like training. That's what Biglow was telling me, and I honestly do see that because my employee, she works remotely, incredible, but she was trained in Biglow. She was like traumatized well enough to be good.
Yep.
And I don't know whether we need to be traumatized to be good.
So that is now. I'm going to give you an answer that's not what you're asking, probably, but I think one of the things that I've seen from my own podcast, right, Entrepreneurial Excellence, in speaking with all these entrepreneurs about what makes them excellent in their minds. There's certainly a level of there's some people who are traumatized in various ways, even from childhood, right? And that's what's pushing them. Like Elon Musk is kind of famously an example of this and publicly about it, that he was pretty traumatized as a kid, and that clearly pushes him. It's made him a world-changing entrepreneur. Whether it's made him happy is a whole different discussion and question.
Which I know the answer, so that's why for me I'm like it's not an option.
Correct, but I don't think you need to be traumatized from a work perspective to do good remotely. I think you just need to have a level of humility and understanding. I do think there's a level of maturity that's required in working remotely, because if you're not disciplined, it's really easy to get distracted because the TV's right over there and the couch is over there and my bed's just over there, and then next thing you know, you're not really getting anything done. So you do need to have a level of discipline to say, look, I mean, every day for me, I get up, I do my normal morning routine, I shower, I do all the same stuff. I mean, I know plenty of people wear sweatpants. I don't wear sweatpants. I wear like the same stuff I would wear if I were going to an office every single day.
Yeah.
And do the exact same schedule. And yeah, like I'm at work when I'm at work, and then I go do family stuff. And then in my case, I go back to work for a long time at night and then on the weekends, but that's my own choice. But I also save 1 to 2 hours every day, 5 to 10 hours a week, because I don't commute anywhere because I'm remote. Yeah. I don't commute. I walk upstairs to my office. That's my commute.
Yeah, I totally can relate. And I think what helps is when you feel motivated to do what you do, then you don't care. Where are you? You want to do it. And I think with the advancements of AI, like those manual tasks will be like in 5 years, I don't think we would be doing a lot of things. I think you will automate your things. I'm going to automate my things. Would be building relationships, solving like some creative things. And then it's going to be a question of like meaning of life. And it will come down to doing what you love. And if you are not, then you will not be motivated to wake up, and probably there will be like a new crisis of the meaning of life.
So yes, so this actually goes off on a slightly different philosophical tangent. So I was a minor in philosophy in college, so just warning. But like, I don't know if you know the flow, like hypothesis, like getting into flow.
Yeah, I've read the book.
Okay, so then look, I think anyone can love what they do in any job.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be some sexy, high-minded, specialized job. You can love any job you're in if you are willing and able to sort of get into it and do that. And so it doesn't matter what you're doing. You just have to say, I want to be great at what I'm doing. And if you want to be great at what you're doing, guess what? All the other good things will come from it. The accolades, the extra money, all this other stuff. So we recently hired a teammate on our team, and he and I were talking about what drives him. He's like, it's not money. It's not a job. He's like, if you get fired, I don't care. I'll get another job. No problem. I just want to do work that I enjoy every day. And I was like, he was like, he's in a foreign country. And he said, look, a lot of people, he's like, he actually warned me. He's like, hey, just so you know, like a lot of people get kind of bothered by what I'm about to tell you. And afterwards, it's like, can I give you, I want to give you a virtual hug through the screen, because like, you're my sort of person. Like, this is exactly right. Like, be at Levy because you love what you're doing. You're making your day is interesting. And sure, it's not going to be, and he said this even, he's like, I'm not going to be happy every single day. It's not going to be perfect every day. I'm like, yeah, that's life. Frankly, if it was happy and perfect every day, you'd get really bored. But like, you're going to learn every single day, become better and stronger, and push yourself in new ways. And that is what, you'll get, everything else will flow from that. The money, the accolades, everything else. And that's what a lot of people mistake. Today they like see stuff on TikTok and they're like, oh, like that person's having a great life and all these things. I'm like, well, one, it's probably fake. But if it's not fake, they probably worked really hard for a long time to get there. And you just don't see the years of toil and labor that went into it.
Yeah. But I also think it's a really important to, because again, like from my corporate career, I needed that to be here, but I didn't feel, it didn't feel me to be working for someone else.
Totally.
And it felt like there's something like I'm like an elephant in a small room, and it did not feel comfortable. And it's not about like pushing more. So I think getting that, what is the direction that gives you that sense of flow, and everyone has their own, but finding that, and then when you push hard towards that, you're not really pushing. It's just like you really want, you go, and it doesn't feel like super hard work. It does feel hard, but you would still want to do that. And I think that's the difference. It's probably energy management than figuring out what gives you more energy versus what takes the energy, and doing the things that give you more than you spend.
Totally. I mean, to use the Elon Musk analogy in a sense again, right? Like, can you imagine taking all of Elon Musk's companies away from him? Like he said, it's like, being an entrepreneur is, I think, like eating glass and like running like,
and staring at the abyss.
Yeah, like think about that. He said that. Yet he has multiple companies he started, probably has other ideas he wants to start. And if you said to him, I'm going to take these all away from you, keep all your money, I'm going to take it all away from you so you can be free of the glass chewing. Do you think he'd say, oh, yeah, sign me up for sure? No, he could quit tomorrow. He'd still be the richest man in the world.
He will start another company.
Right. He. This is what he loves doing.
Yeah.
He enjoys it. My teammate was asking me this morning on one of our one-on-ones, we were talking about like, we have I'm doing a lot of stuff right now. I have a lot on my plate. And she's like, I would never want that. And I was like, I hear you. It's the job I signed up for. It's a little bit much right now, but I'm also learning something new every day, and it's a new challenge. And so there's nothing else I'd rather be doing because I don't need to be doing it. I've been lucky enough that I've done well enough. I don't need to be doing what I'm doing. I'm doing it because I think we have an opportunity to change the world, and I'm learning new stuff every day. And yeah, sometimes it's hard, but if it wasn't hard, then I wouldn't be learning.
I love it. And maybe the last phrase that you would tell yourself 14 years old. You've been in Silicon Valley for 14 years old. So what insight or learning that you would like to share with yourself 14 years ago?
Oh man, I mean, I think I feel like I probably had this 14 years ago too, but it is sort of, stay curious, stay hungry, which I think is a famous quote, but like from probably the Whole Earth catalog, or maybe from Steve Jobs, but like and I still have that, right? Every day, I think longevity from a health perspective, even just like, how do you remain super, super curious about everything? Like, I have a podcast, I interview people. You got me talking a lot in this, but I'm usually like to listen to other people and learn from them. What can I learn? What are the new cool things that are happening? How is the world going to change in 10 years because of technology, 20 years? What does that look like? Like, the pace of change is going faster and faster. And so I'm excited by that. And yeah, it's scary. Change is scary for a lot of people and everything, but embrace that change. And I guess the advice I would give myself is keep being positive about all the things, because it's all going to work out, and just keep sticking with it.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Yeah, Kristina,
that was
thank you so much
really
for having
great. Thank you, Adam Spector, CEO and founder of Levy.
Thank you.
Startup plumbers.
Startup plumbers, exactly. Don't deal with that shit. It stinks. So let us handle it for you.
Figure shit out and outsource the other shit.
Exactly right.